All right, hello and welcome to another lesson on inheritance. Before we get into the main guts of the lesson, question here for you about we have circus performers and then we have two subclasses, clown and acrobat, and then which of these is true. So this one, I think there's some kind of controversy in this one, but give it a shot and definitely eliminate ones you know can't be right. Pause the video. All right, so right off the bat, I think A is right. Like you could put do trick in circus performer, but you could overwrite it in these two, so that I think is okay. Both clown and acrobat inherit constructors from circus performer. That's not true. That's one of the only things that isn't, or pretty much the only thing that isn't is constructors. If circus performer has a private instance variable routine, then neither. Yeah, okay, so this is the one that I think is kind of controversial. Like they don't have direct access to it if it's private. Technically, they can access it through public methods, but I think technically speaking, um, yeah, so technically speaking, I think this is true. They don't have direct access to it except through method. So I don't know. I know A for sure is right. You could argue that C is true also. So we'll put a line and a circle on it. Performer has a private method tumble. Nope. If it's a private method, then the subclasses don't have access to it. If clown has a private instance variable jokes, so it doesn't flow up, it flows down, which is kind of stupid that they draw the arrows that way. But anything that's in clown does not flow up to circuit performer, so that one is definitely false. Okay, so we're going to keep working on the questions and quiz program, right? So hopefully you have that hierarchy, and we'll sketch some more out on that. Um, I think we did this already in the last lesson. We made at least a question on quiz. So next up is to make multiple choice question and then add some multiple choice questions to quiz. Okay, so hopefully by the end of the day, you're finished with multiple choice question and are able to make them in the quiz program. All right, so kind of where we're at, we did question yesterday or the other day, and here's what I had. I had two string variables, text and answer. I had a constructor, obviously, and then we had like a set text, a set answer. We had a check answer that returned a Boolean true or false if the user's answer was right. And then we had like a display question. I think I called this display question. So maybe it's a little bit different here. I can add that for you. I called this display question to display the text. Okay, and I'm also going to call this, instead of choice question, I'm going to make it multiple choice question. I just like it that better that way than choice question. I'm not sure what that even means. MC question to me, hopefully, is clear that it's a multiple choice question. So our first thing is, we're obviously going to use some of the functionality up here, right? Like we still have a question text, like who is the best quarterback or whatever. But now maybe we want to make multiple choice options. Okay, so I want you to think of what variables, data, and methods would need to be either overwritten or added in choice question. Okay, so I'd pause the video and try and think of that before continuing. Okay, so we are going to, one of the biggest changes is if you want to have multiple choices, you have to store all of them, right? Store that data in the question class, or in this case, multiple choice question class. So we're going to make an array list of strings called choices. Okay. And then we would definitely need a constructor, right? Because you don't inherit the constructors. Um, and then I think that, you could try to pass in all the choices. Honestly, that would be my preference, is that when they construct the multiple choice question, they pass in all the choices at once. Um, but I don't know, that might be a little goofy. I guess we could do it that way. I don't know. It really depends on how you want to set it up. Remember on this project, you kind of have some choices, and as long as you can get a functioning question or multiple choice question, really doesn't matter how you set it up. But I think I'm just going to set it to new, and then I'm going to add the choices maybe in the quiz program. Okay, and then we're definitely going to have to overwrite the display. I think I called it display question, but we're going to have to overwrite that because in addition to displaying the text, we're also going to have to display all the answer choices, right? Like A, B, C, D. Okay, and then we're going to have to add, yeah, so the add answer will just allow us to add a new answer to our list of multiple choice options. All right, and check answer, again, I don't think we'll need to overwrite or do anything here because our answer here, I think I would start to store the answer as A, B, C, D, E, F, or whatever their choices are. And then when we pass in the response, we'll just have the user enter A, B, C, or D, and then check it against whatever we stored. So I don't think we need to do much there. Just display all the options and then make, since we're not doing it in the constructor, allow them to add an answer to our array list. Okay, so let's get after it. So let's go on in here, and hopefully you got your package still. And I'm going to add a new class called multiple choice question, MC question. You can type it all out if you really want, but I'm going to call it MC question. Obviously, we don't need a main, right? This is just an object class, and then the main again will be run in the quiz program. That's where we'll start to make multiple choice question or make instances of it. Okay, so again, I'm going to have you try to program. So look at this guide, even though this is kind of a mess at this point. See if you can start to like sketch out what do you think these methods and code would look like in multiple choice questions. So pause the video, give it a shot before continuing. All right, so first couple things, I have to extend or extends question because I want to be a subclass. Okay, and then I'm going to make my instance variable. And I remember I already have the correct answer and the text. I don't need to recreate those. They'll flow down. So all I need to do is do a private array list variable that has a bunch of strings. And I'm just going to call it my choices. Okay, and so now I'm going to need to import that array list. Control Shift O is the fastest way. Okay, and then I'm going to make my constructor. All right, and I'm going to make it a lot like this one, where I want them to do the text and the answer in. So honestly, I'm going to pretty much, whoops, I'm going to copy this from question because I'm lazy. So I have to change this to multiple choice question. And I don't have direct access to these variables, right? Because they are private. So what I'm going to do, the best way to do this is just to use the constructor up here, right? I already have a constructor that sets those two variables the way I want them to be. So I'm just going to do super, and then I'm going to do pass in the text, pass up the text, and pass up the answer. So they're just being sent up to the superclass. Okay, and then the other thing I need to do is initialize this. This is my new variable. So to initialize it, I'm just going to do new array list strings. All right, and again, depending on how you wanted to do this, you could pass in those multiple choice answers, but I think, I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't like doing it that way. I'm just going to allow them to do it. So when they want to add the answers, so when they construct a question, they'll have to do this, but then add the answers one at a time, which is a little tedious, but as a teacher, that's how you make questions. You have to specify their multiple choice answers one at a time. So in my methods, I'm going to do public void and add multiple choice answer. And again, you can call it whatever you want, but that's going to take in a text, string, new answer, or whatever, and then I'm just going to add it. So I'm going to do choices, my array list, add that new answer. So they'll add them one at a time. Okay. And then the other big thing is for the display method. Okay, so we have this display question method. All right, so it puts out the question like, who is mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? It prints out that, but then we also have to print out the multiple choice options one at a time. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to overwrite this method. I'm going to do overwrite. Okay, and I still want to do this display the question text, but again, this is a private variable, so I don't have direct access. So I'm just going to call the superclass display question. So I'm going to do, let's see, I think, that's actually interesting. I think that'll call the one in question. We might have to check that. That might like call it in question, but then send it back down because this is overwriting it. I'm not sure about that. So we'll try that and see. We might have to modify this, but then I just want to loop through all my answer choices, right? So I'm going to do for string choice and choices. So I'm going to do an enhanced for loop because it's just a basic print. So I'm going to go through my array list of strings and choices. So this is the string I'm using, pulling from that array, and then I'm just going to system out print that choice. Okay, and that should be enough to display all the options. Okay, so I think that's all I need. And then the main thing again here, I'm going to have to think through a little bit is how they like I store their answers and they respond. Okay, so I think what I want to do is like make the answer be like A, B, C, or D. And then when I do my choices, I'm going to put like the first one as A, B, C, or D. Okay, so let's get back after and see if we can actually make a multiple choice question now, right? Again, we're using a lot of functions from the superclass, which is kind of nice. There's not a lot of code in here. But let's go back into quiz, right, and see if we can now make a multiple choice question. And again, please try this on your own before watching, right? I know it's pretty challenging, but that's really the value. Even if you can't get it right, the process of trying to like wrap your head around it is super important. So hopefully you've tried it before continuing. Okay, so I'm going to make a multiple choice question, question 2, and I'm going to do a new multiple choice question. And remember the constructor takes in the same 2 things, all right, except my answer now is going to be like A, B, C, or D. So I'm going to do my question. All right, so I'm going to ask them who's the fairest RHS teacher of all. And then right now, I'm just going to like say my answer is C, even though I don't know what the answer is going to be yet, which was the right one. But then like now I'm going to add 2 of my answers, right? So I'm going to do q2.add multiple choice answer. Okay, so I'm going to do this, like 4 times. And I'm just going to make sure that C is the right answer. So maybe we'll start there. Who is the fairest? We'll go with Schultenberg, even though I don't know how to spell his name. Schultz and Berg. That's not right at all. Schultz. Well, I have no idea how to spell your name, Mr. Schultenberg. I'm sorry. So let's fill in some other teachers. All right. So at this point, I've made a question, set the answer, correct answer to C. If I, had a different correct answer, I go back and change it. But I've added all the answers, and now I want to do pretty much the same code I have here. All right. I want to display the question, scan to get the answer, check question 2 against their user's answer, and then print out this. So honestly, I would make a method for this. Maybe I'll do that in the next video. But for now, let's just copy and paste the code. So I'm going to display question 2, and I don't need to recreate this string variable. I'm just going to reuse it. So I'm going to reuse it by scanning their answer. And then I'm going to reuse is correct. So now I just need to check question 2 against what they just answered. And then if it's correct, say that. Otherwise, say you must have Westpatel. So let's see if we can get these 2 to work. So who's the best NFL quarterback? Aaron Rodgers, of course. And then I got that one right. And then let's see who's the fairest of them all. So I'm going to see Schultenberger. That looks good. So let's see if I get them wrong, if it works too. And then we'll try Fossum. Okay, and then to make this function a little better, we could maybe add a please enter A, B, C, or D, right? Maybe that would be a good thing to add just to make it so that they know what to enter. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching.